we're back with another episode of The Unknown Pro, and today I have the amazing Aubree Munro. Hi, Aubree.
Hi, Sam.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just really happy that you have blue light glasses on because I have felt like such a nerd wearing mine with like they're not a prescription or anything, and I'm just really appreciative of your look right now.
Well, thank you, because I had other ones and I was wearing them so much I really wanted to get like some nice ones. So I went and paid, and like no prescription, nothing. I just went for it. But it's worth it because my eyeballs have been burning with all this virtual stuff.
Staring it at the screens. Good. Well, I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm always excited to talk to you, whether it's me asking you questions or us just, talking about nothing, when we're together. So, first and foremost, I wanted to just let everyone who's watching and listening know of your bio. So if you want, I'm just going to brag about you for a minute. So just, listen up. So in 2014 and 2015 with Florida, you won the Women's College World Series, and that was pretty exciting, part of a lot of dog piles. You graduated from Florida in 2016, which was the same year that you made Team USA for the first time. With Team USA, you've won 2 World Championship gold medals in 2016 and 2018. You've won a Pan American gold medal in 2019. There's some World Cup and International Cup medals mixed in there. You made the Olympic team, and when you were in school, I forgot to mention this in the school time, but you had a 997 fielding percentage, and I just think that that's really worth noting because that's just unreal. So that's a little bio I have for Aubree Munro. What do you think when you hear all that?
It makes me feel a lot cooler than I actually think I am. I start to think like, dang, I did all that.
Isn't that crazy? Like, whoa! Especially your first year on Team USA, you went and you won a gold medal at World Championships. Like, did you even realize kind of what was going on?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. And that year was actually really cool. There was like way more countries than there normally are in Worlds. They really opened it up. So there was a lot of different teams. It really felt like a cultural experience. So my first year on Team USA, I was like, whoa, international softball is like very different. There's just so many different elements that I've like really come to enjoy because has that cultural element as opposed to just like your school culture. So I really liked it, but it was like, I didn't feel like really any of us knew that we had just like won a gold medal and like really did it. Like,
right.
It was such a minimal celebration.
Really?
Like, just some hugs. Like, yeah, great job, guys. Cool. And it was done.
Another win.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because I remember my first year was a World Championship year. In 2012, we played in Whitehorse, Canada. For World Championships, we lost to Japan, and I don't think it hit me until we went to Worlds in 2014. What a big deal World Championships is. Where there's opening ceremonies, there's countries, there's everything. It's just such a big deal, and there's fans, and it's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is. I definitely didn't understand.
Just like, it's another game by the time we have to get the bus, That's so cool. Before we start talking more about Team USA, you're from California, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up in Brea.
California girl. It's very important, especially SoCal. What drew you to go to Florida? Because it's still like a hot, beachy state, but I feel like it's super opposite from where we grew up.
Yeah, I like telling the story, and I feel like you'll appreciate it. Yeah. So I originally was like total homebody, wouldn't want to go anywhere farther than Arizona or something like that. Like was terrified of going somewhere far away. Uh-huh. My older sister played volleyball at a NAIA school in South Carolina. She came back after her freshman year. So I was a sophomore in high school at this point. And she goes, Aubree, it's a whole other world out there. Like, you can always come home. And I was like, all right, maybe. So I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then I switched teams to a bigger travel ball team that was really going to help me kind of like find a school that I really wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And I started getting some looks from Alabama and Florida and things like that. And I was like, geez, it's really far out there. But I went on all the way out there.
Yeah.
So I went on my visit to Alabama first, and I actually loved it. I was really into the college town culture because, I mean, where I grew up, like, I was never into, like, a college. I would go to Cal State Fullerton games, but it wasn't like I was a diehard USC or UCLA, which is really common in Southern California. And so I'd never been to a college football game, nothing, like, really didn't understand a college town. Yeah. So I go to Alabama, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. Really, really liked it. My mom and I go on my unofficial to Florida, super fast, like 2 red-eye flights in and out, hotter than all get out, like disgustingly hot. My mom is thinking there's no way she's going to want to go here. It's so hot. And I ended up really, really liking it. The culture of the team was very much my speed. But I came back home, didn't want to make a decision like that. So I thought about it, talked to my people. And then 2 weeks after my visit, there's a replay game on TV. It's kind of late. So I'm like, let's watch. It's Alabama and Florida. Oy. And I'm like, let's see. See how they compete, you know? And Coach Walton went berserk on some play at the plate, like went off on the umpire. And I remember watching, I have no idea what this was about me, but I was like, I want to play for that guy. Like, it was crazy, but I was just like, he totally went to bat for his team. And there was something about that, like that kind of loyalty that really stuck out to me. Yeah. And I called him the next day, said I wanted to be a Gator. And while in my time at Florida, there were plenty of days where I was like, Coach, like, what, you're killing me. I don't even like you right now. Like, there are plenty of days like that, but I had so many moments where the loyalty that made me make that choice, I saw it where he was totally loyal to me on the field, off the field. And it was just like, when I think back now, it's really cool that was really the decision maker for me. Yeah. And I totally see that now, even in postgraduate life.
That's so cool for so many different reasons, you know, kind of like the universe showing you here's what you need to know to make your decision, you know? Yeah. And I think it's cool to hear too, that you could have said, you know, that team was in the World Series and competing every single year, that they were the best, one of the top 10 schools every year. But that kind of was a byproduct of the reasons that you wanted to go there.
Like yeah. I mean, obviously they were like visible at that time. I remember when Stacey Nelson was on the team, the first time I ever watched them on the World Series, and I was like, they got good uniforms. They're on my list. Like, stupid stuff like that.
Of course.
But like, so they were on my radar at that point, but I was really, really focused on finding the right fit, especially if I was going to go away. Like, I'm not going to go spend 4 years someplace that's not going to be a good fit for me. I wanted to play. We had asked Coach Walton on my visit, like, can I play here? Because if I can't, it's all good. Like, tell me and I'll drop down a level or whatever that looks like. Like, I wanted to play and be an impact player. And so he told me I would.
Yeah, right. Good thing.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was perfect because I wanted to transition into you playing at Florida, and you did. You went in and you pretty much played just about every game in your 4 years.
So actually, I did, but I didn't.
Oh,
nobody remembers my freshman year except me and my family. Everyone else just remembers the rest of it.
Yeah, no, tell me more.
Well, I had a lot of game appearances because I referred to myself as a closing catcher. Okay, and
gotcha.
I'll explain. So I got to Florida my freshman year and struggled way more than I thought. I mean, I'm a string bean now, but I was really a string bean then. And so it was like the lifting, the classes, just I was exhausted. I got way more homesick than I expected my freshman year. My family had moved, so now my hometown isn't my hometown anymore. Like weird, just like family stuff that I, one, didn't anticipate when I chose Florida, and 2, like I didn't realize how important it would be to me. So I'm coming home for winter break. My mom's like, this is our house. I'm like, ugh. Very, so yeah, really, really weird. And I didn't realize how weird it would be.
Yeah.
So I struggled my freshman year. I realized that I wasn't fully a complete player. Like I kind of joke about it, but I have really I rode my arm and my leadership and like my ability to impact the game defensively very much like to where I am today. because I didn't even really have a swing that I owned until like my sophomore year of college. And that's because my freshman year, I was almost too coachable. I was trying something new every couple days, trying to get some production out of me. And our team that year just wasn't really built for, like, we just needed hitters. We didn't have the same kind of depth that we would have in later years. So I just kind of for the first time realized I wasn't the complete player I really thought I was. So I had to put a lot of work in offensively, but I was still really, really valued by my team and my coaches for what I did behind the plate.
Yeah.
So I became what I called a closing catcher. So we'd be playing, and we had a lot of really, really close games that year. I think we went to extra innings like at least 10 times that year. Just lots of tight games. And we'd get to the 6th or 7th inning. The girl who was catching, who was also a freshman, but a really strong hitter and a good catcher, if she'd have her second or third, whatever, at bat, the last one, arguably, of the game, he'd be like, all right, Aubree, get your gear on, you're out there, like, shut it down, like I'm a pitcher or something. And I'm like, okay.
Cool.
So I had a lot of appearances my freshman year, but I didn't, like, having been the person in it, it really didn't feel like I played a lot. But that year was a lot of fun. Our chemistry on that team was really cool. We weren't expected to do very well that year. We had lost a lot of players the year before. And we ended up winning the SEC tournament, and making it to the World Series. So it was this weird feeling after that year of, wow, like that's what it takes. I want to go to the World Series again. This is so cool. But at the same time, being really disappointed with my personal performance. So kind of that double-edged sword of, wow, the team, we had so much fun. We succeeded. We did so many really, really good things, but also like, that's not good enough for me. Like with my own personal performance, I need to make some changes.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that that's something that people have a hard time dealing with when you're either not playing or you're not performing when you are playing. And it can be really discouraging, but it sounds like it almost was the opposite for you.
It was very discouraging, but no, I was honest. If I'm being like super, super honest with you, my freshman year was probably just like a very low point for me.
Yeah.
But my identity was so wrapped up in softball, and because I had gone away to school, I had really locked into, like, I'm here to play softball, because that was really what drove me to go to that school. Now that I'm through it, I'm like, holy cow, I got an education from the University of Florida. I value it so much higher than I realized.
Yeah.
But going into it at 18, I was like, I'm here to play softball.
Right.
And so I felt really lost that year. I had a lot of conversations with my mom where I was just in tears. She asked me, like, do you want to transfer? Because I was really feeling, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm good enough to be here. Wow. It was really hard. But I didn't feel like I needed to transfer. And if I had, I would have missed out on the rest of an incredible career. Right. But I had those thoughts, of like, well, maybe this isn't the right fit. And so that was tough, but I was really raised to be a good teammate, like, first and foremost. Yeah. So while it was difficult and while it's discouraging, the being a good teammate part came very, like, naturally to me, where it would be like the other catcher would hit a home run and I'd be like freaking fired up, meeting her at the plate. And then I'd be walking back like, probably not playing tomorrow. She's on fire. Right. So my first reaction was always like, team's doing awesome. This is great. Cause that's how I was raised. And then kind of the logical, like,
yeah,
great for Aubree.
That's so funny. I think that we've all played with a teammate who, if they're not having a good game, they're not so fun to be around. So I think that really says a lot about how you were raised and about how you value being a good teammate, because, there's times where it's hard to be around people if things aren't going their way, or teammates, Yeah. I think that's huge. What did you do to improve physically? Like, what did you do because reading in your bio, you hit like 140 points higher your sophomore year compared to what was it that you did?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. And it said you improved in every offensive category. So what did you do to make that happen?
So my dad was, he played minor league ball, he played baseball, and he's very offensively minded. And so I went home that summer and I was like, I'm never letting that happen to me again. Like, I know that I can change the game defensively. I know I can make my team better with my defense. So I cannot let my offense keep me out of the game. Like, I don't have to be your freaking number one power hitter, but I'm not going to be the girl that people are hoping gets a hit. Which is where I was at. I mean, I've had conversations with Coach Bolton where he's like, you know, it's kind of funny, but like, your team's so happy for you when you get a hit.
Oh.
And it's like, they're so supportive, so it's good. Like, they love you, but at the same time, like, it doesn't happen often enough for them to be like, cool. So, like, just real life conversations about that kind of thing. So that summer, I hit every single day with my dad. Awesome. And just in the backyard, off a tee, soft toss, and just really for the first time, tried to pick something that worked for me and stick with it. And then having the confidence to go back to school and say, I really want to stick with this.
Yeah.
As opposed to switching. And I sent Coach video over the summer, like, hey, this is what I'm working on. What do you think? Like, trying to get his input. But it was the first time that I really tried to own my swing. You know, before it was kind of like, no, I'm really good defensively. Like, I just never really put as much emphasis on it, which is crazy because most people are the opposite.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, so I hit every day, and just there's a big difference in my mental approach of just being confident and owning what I wanted to do. And so, which was just crazy because then that year we go to the World Series, we're in the championship series, and we were playing Alabama. And game one, I hit a home run off Jackie Trina, and it was like, what? Like, I'm looking, my parents are in the front row, and I'm looking up at them after I come in, and we're like, did that just freaking happen? Like,
yeah. Oh my God.
Who is this person? Who do I think I am? So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of intentional work, but it ended up being one of the coolest things to share with my dad, like to be able to go through that and then just see it come to fruition in such a cool way.
Yeah, that, you know, I think you make a good point about owning it, because I can relate to that feeling, because I always have considered my swing my child, my baby. Like, if you're going to bring something to the table for my swing, I want to make sure it's the right thing for it, you know? And I think that mental switch is knowing what's best for you and being able to protect it, but also being able to improve it as it fits, you know? Like, sometimes I think maybe I would get nervous about coming across as uncoachable if I felt like this isn't right for my swing. It might be right for such and such swing, but for me, I'll try it. If it doesn't fit in, then I discard it, you know? So
exactly.
I think
and I really didn't have the confidence to do that before that.
There it is, yeah.
Someone like, oh, I'm playing for Tim Walton. He's like, at the time, I mean, not that he's not anymore, but at the time it was like, oh, Tim Walton and his hitters at Florida, you know?
Right.
I had heard about Tim Walton is like the swing guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's going to turn me into a great hitter like that. So everything he said, and it's not that it was wrong. It's just like, almost some of it was like, that just doesn't work for my build. That doesn't work for like my levers. Like I mean, so many things that I didn't understand about how I can use those things to my strength, but not the way that person does, you know?
Exactly.
So I didn't have enough confidence to say, not going to work for me, but thanks.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You have to be protective. You have to be a weird mix of being very protective, but also open. It's super weird, especially like what an influence of someone who does develop great hitters, where, but then it's probably easier to work with someone who kind of knows already what worked for them. So you along the way probably became even a better form of being coachable versus listening to everything and trying everything and not really having
I totally agree.
Foundation. Yeah. So confidence to stick with yourself, but also awareness and just being willing to learn. I think is huge. And that's something I really wanted to talk to you about, is the fact that we've talked about this, about you being a late bloomer or being someone who just has like steadily improved over time, because anybody who's followed your career, especially talking about your freshman year, can see you went from hitting below 200 and being a closing Yeah, I know. I'm so
Terrible.
sorry, but it's very
No. I don't know what it was, but it was very low because I basically doubled it, and it's not like I was hitting 400 when I doubled it.
I doubled it.
I was
like
feeling like 280.
Right. So you went from this position to now an Olympic catcher. I think that it's really important to people only see a lot of times Aubree Munro Olympic catcher, right? But it didn't go from, it wasn't a straight line. It was, up and down to get to this point.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like you learned more or you were able to develop because of that process? Or what was your mentality through all of it? Because I know you wanted to be a USA catcher, right?
Right.
Like that lifelong dream. So what was it like understanding when you were a freshman and going through that transition? What was it like thinking of that dream in the back of your head, but also going through a struggle of, am I even good enough to play at Florida?
Right. I'm really proud of my journey. And there's plenty of times where, I used to tell my mom, I'm like, I'm just so tired of having to work so hard to be like, I played with like Lauren Hager, who is just God-given gifts for a swing, like she really has to try hard. She's so smooth. And then on top of that, she can pitch great. Like it was just like, and I'm in her hitting group. Like, so it's like Lauren would try, and not to say that she wouldn't try, but it's like the level of effort to be like this good, she would have to put in X amount of time and effort. And for me to be at that same level was like 10 times the effort.
Right.
And not so much for the same results, like power or anything like that, but just like to feel that kind of confidence and that kind of just consistency took so much more effort for me. And it would get exhausting. I'd be like, I'm just so sick of feeling like I'm making this much progress and not really after putting in so much work. And so there were plenty of times where I got really frustrated, where I wouldn't believe. And my mom always said something really cool. I'm really close with my mom. She's been a huge part of, 100% I would not be where I am without her guidance, her love, her criticism, like all of it. Just kind of bundle it up, and it's like, wow, you just did it right, Mom. Yeah. And so I just think there was a lot of times where she would kind of believe for me. And she brought that up a couple of months ago, actually, where it's like, there were times where even after winning a national championship and catching all of that postseason and feeling really, really good and being like, oh, maybe I'll get an invite to USA. No invite. And then second year comes around, we win another national championship. I'm like getting more, like I've been more consistent with my offensive numbers, and I caught the whole postseason again and like feeling really, really good. Still no invite, and feeling really discouraged. And again, the Olympic dream wasn't on the table yet, but just getting discouraged and being like, all right, maybe I'm just not what USA is looking for, and accepting that. And then my mom still being like, you never know. Like, you have to trust, like, if it's part of the plan, like, it'll come to be. And honestly, so the year that I got invited to tryouts, I was not initially on the invite list.
Really?
Really, really.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
I know, because it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. Like, I don't want to call out USA. It's not, because it's not their fault. It's just whatever. But like, a bunch of other catchers said no.
Oh my God, I remember that year. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So that was my in, is like, all these other catchers are saying, no, I didn't get my invite until like mid-December. Tryouts are like first week of January.
Weeks before, right.
Yeah. So it's like all these other really talented catchers who are great hitters as well, like they all said no, because that was also right in the period where a lot of players were kind of phasing out because there weren't as many opportunities. People need to be able to pay their bills. Like, it was just a weird time for USA. And I kind of like slid in there and had nothing to lose at that tryout. But I'm really proud of my journey. At first I was like pissed. I'm like, they don't even want me here. Like, so mad. And my mom's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you got there, how you got the opportunity. What are you going to do with it?
That's huge.
And so I'm just really really grateful for the way I was raised, for the way my mom has been like so involved in just like at all the moments that I was discouraged or didn't believe, like she was believing for me. And so I've just been really fortunate. Like I think through all those even crappy times, I look back and I'm so grateful for it now because I can handle adversity better than some people I've seen who've been successful their whole lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they get hit with, I'm not performing as well, and for whatever reason, like whether it's lack of preparation or just a kind of a crummy season or whatever, like it doesn't really matter, but I see it hit other people harder. Whereas because I spent most of my career, my life as a softball player, like really not being a good hitter, it's like flushing a bat at bat, it's like normal. It was like, oh, I hit a home run, what do I do after this? Like,
how do I deal with the successes more so than the ground?
Exactly. So like for me, it's kind of a weird thing where it's like, because I struggled so much in the beginning, and I'm still having so much fun. I make it sound like, oh, I struggled so much, why do I even play softball? Like, I still love the game, and I really, really have always loved defense and my role as a catcher.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's where my love always stemmed from. And honestly, since my sophomore year of college into USA, I've really started to love the offensive side, and I've really started to take ownership and mature as a hitter, and it's been really cool. But I mean, I would never have gotten here or to this point if I couldn't adjust from failure, or I guess just like kind of look at things for what they are and not like, okay, I got to work hard, I got to put in a little more time, or sometimes I can just chalk it up to, okay, like you're fine, just move on. Like I've been able to just divert my attention or compartmentalize those things sometimes better than I've noticed just than people who have always been successful.
Yeah.
They have a tougher time compartmentalizing that stuff.
Right, absolutely. And I think of this actually quite a bit. I had a teammate when I was in travel ball, and she was our ace pitcher. She was like a Lauren Hager, but when we were 16, she hit home runs, she struck everyone out. And I remember when there was a time where she started to kind of plateau, and she was giving up some hits. And I'll never forget her coming off the field and say to me, why are they hitting me? It was almost like she couldn't believe now. She would not even know how to handle the fact that people are bad on the ball. And I think that obviously you can be super, super successful without you can always continue to be successful if you've always been successful. But the things that you've learned along the way translate to off the field too, would you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like things don't come easy for anything outside of the softball world too. It just directly translates to life. But I think the best part in what I'm hearing in what you're saying, dealing through all the downtimes, all the hard times, is that you didn't make excuses. You didn't sit back and say, well, it's because your freshman year. Well, if I was getting more playing time, I'd be hitting better because I'd be seeing the pitcher more, instead of just, like there's so many different ways to make an excuse. And
totally.
Did you ever, go ahead.
I had those thoughts every once in a while, like, well, if I got an opportunity, but then I would get an opportunity and I wouldn't do well. So I'm like, what's he supposed to do? I just get unlimited opportunities when we're trying to win a conference championship or whatever. It's like, but it helped me actually going through that year and then being successful. It actually helped me with kids coming in, because versus some of my teammates who came in and just balled out from the beginning. I'm like, no, I know what it's like when you're getting limited opportunities. I know what it's like, how that feels, how like this is the truth. You need to make the most of your opportunities, but it's not about fairness right now. It's about, you got to show them something. I had a conversation with Coach Walton, and he was like, I was like, what do I need to do to get more opportunities? I had those kind of conversations. Like, I want to play. What do I need to do? Mm-hmm. And he told me, he was like, you're not really showing me anything in your BP. And this is stupid of me, but I wasn't like, for some reason, I was like, why does it matter? For some reason, it was like a light bulb where I'm like, oh, well, duh, if I'm not freaking hitting well in practice, why would he play me in a game?
Wow.
Light bulb. Yeah, it's stuff that should make sense. But when I heard it, I was like, okay. And so it wasn't that I wasn't trying in BP before, but after that, it was like, oh yeah, no, he's paying attention to me right now. Whereas I think I might have been kind of going through the motions of practice of like, all right, it's time to hit. So I'm hitting, as opposed to like really getting after it.
Yeah.
So those kind of honest conversations like helped me focus that a little bit more. And I learned a lot.
Oh yeah. And as you said before, the going from freshman to sophomore year, just having intention, right? And everything that you do, if you have intention, you're going to get more out of it, and you're going to show more, and you're probably going to grow more or get better a little bit more by, you know, going out there and be like, okay, I have 5 pitches. I'm going to destroy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that.
Right.
So I think, God, I think that's so, I just think it's so cool what a story you have, and just where you are now, you know, because did it ever cross your mind to quit or to give up?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, being real.
Yeah, I think there was a point, my mom always laughs about this because I grew up like I was totally a softball crazy kid, like in 04, which is when I first saw the Olympic team play, and I was like, I want to play for Team USA. Best. And then I really, really wanted to master my craft behind the plate, and I was so committed to being the best. And then there was a point in high school, I don't know why, but my mom was like, do you want to be the best? And for some reason I was like, I mean, I want to be like one of the best. Like I want to be up there. And she like, she brings it up sometimes, and I'm like, I really said that.
Talk about
like, yeah, I was shocked. So, I mean, there was times where I got a little like, just not as driven. And then my senior year of college, I made the USA team. So that December, I went through my whole college career, or my senior year, knowing I would play for Team USA that summer. I was kind of burnt out, and when I look back, I think the fact that the way we lost my senior year in walk-off fashion against Georgia, we were the 1 seed. Like, oh, it's just a brutal like kick in the gut. But it's like, I'm also so greedy. It's just sickening sometimes. But I felt kind of robbed for a couple weeks. Like I didn't really mourn. It sounds so dramatic, but I didn't really mourn the ending of like, okay, my college career is done, because it was like in an instant. I mean, I literally, up until that pitch was thrown, I was like, we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them in game 3, and we're going to the World Series. Like I had no doubts. Yeah. And then it was over. And I just I loved being a Gator. I loved everything about our culture, all the fans, the atmosphere. I loved everything about it. And we were so hyper focused on a 3-peat, probably too much. Like it would, yeah, where we lost some things along the way, like socially, culturally, but it was so abrupt that then I'm playing for USA. And while it's a total honor, I'm so excited. It's a dream come true. It took me a while to kind of like really commit and really be like the player I am with USA, because it was new people. Yeah. I still kind of had this chip on my shoulder of like, do they even like, do I really fit with these people? Are they even going to like me? Like I wasn't one of their first picks. Like I kind of had those kind of thoughts. So it really wasn't until towards the end of that summer at World Championships, in probably, I think the semi game, we played Japan as well. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until that game where I really felt myself like kind of let my guard down, and I was really, really playing like just the way I always do. Yeah. But it took a while. And I think it was kind of because it just felt weird to be like done with this, onto this. Like I need time to like let things marinate and think about them. And right. It was funky. But, and then that year we were also voted back into the Olympics. So huge. I was kind of thinking going into it, like, all right, I'll play USA, see how it goes, see if it's a good fit. Like, what the heck? And then we get voted in, and I'm thinking, can I do this another 4 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time, I really didn't know. I genuinely did not know if I was going to be able to stick it out 4 years. And it's flown by, and now it's 5 years. But
right. Oh, sad.
But, I mean, that was probably the closest I've ever come to really being, like, really questioning, like, my love for the game. I was kind of feeling burnout after college and going like right into a summer season.
Yeah.
But I've always loved the game. Like I've always, like once I let that guard down, it's like, this is what I love. It's the moments like when it just starts flowing.
Yeah.
You're like, for me, like a really big strikeout, being on the same page with the pitchers, like watching a double play come together. It's like, I found myself like slowly but surely getting lost in those moments again that summer. And since then, I think I've really kind of just fallen in love with the game again.
That's so cool. And I think the transition from Florida to USA, the one thing I can think is that it's almost like if you accept USA too soon, it's almost like you didn't care enough about Florida. Is that kind of what you were thinking? Where it's
kind of. Oh, I'm so bad. That's part of why my freshman year was really bad. I'm like loyal to a deranged fault, because it's like I don't need new friends. I have great friends back home. Like, so I wasn't letting myself like really make friends my freshman year. So that's part of why it was so hard.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing where I'm like, well, if I just like move on to USA, like I feel like I'm not like giving Florida and that experience the respect and the loyalty it deserves. Right. So yeah, no, that's totally it. And it's weird. There's no real reason for it.
Have you seen the movie Miracle?
It's one of my favorites.
Oh, thank God. Okay, because
I think in the program for USA, I think I put it as my favorite movie.
It should be. I'm so glad, because I think back, like what you're talking about is when Herb Brooks was asking all the different guys who to play for, and they were saying their schools, and it didn't click for them. No, I play for USA, and that really connected them as a team. And I think that you, at the beginning, you would have said, I play for the University of Florida. And
which is like a weird thing to say, because it was conflicting. I'm like, Aubree, it was almost like I was trying to get myself like to game up. Like, Aubree, this is your dream. It's not guaranteed that you're playing. Yeah, like you're not guaranteed to ever put this uniform on again. So, but like emotionally, it was like my heart wasn't fully there yet. And it's a lot, but I feel like when you really love something and when you really are like, I was so invested as a Gator. Yeah. Like not only with the time being at school on campus, but like I was so invested in what we built and what I was a part of and the atmosphere. And so it was like, again, didn't realize how much until it was gone. And then I'm like, you need to relax, Aubree. Like, it's fine.
That's so awesome. I think that's so cool. And now you've realized that you can have both. You can be a proud Gator while also representing your country and being proud to do that as well. So
absolutely.
So much growth. I feel like just the word that I would want to say about your whole from freshman year of college to now is just so much growth in learning as a player. And then what you've even said is figuring out those things, like emotional things, things you hold really dear to your heart. I'm sure you wanted to be on Team USA before you ever wanted to be a Gator.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's what it was. It's crazy. Like when I think about the timeline that I have been a part of, it's like, I don't want to say that I resented USA, because it wasn't really resentment. It was just kind of like acceptance of like, okay, it's probably not going to happen. So I'm going to divert all my energy to Florida and how these people see me. I've always been really motivated and really like when I feel seen, because I feel like so much of what I bring to the game is not in a stat line. So I need somebody to really see me. I need someone to see how I affect my teammates, how I work with pitchers. The stuff that's not going to show up on your stat line or win individual awards. Mm-hmm. So when I feel seen, I will thrive. Yeah. It's kind of what I've learned throughout my life. And so here I am at Florida, where I really feel valued and I feel seen for what I bring. And then like, I'm not getting anything from USA. So it wasn't so much resentment. It was just kind of like acceptance of, okay, now divert all the energy here, even though I know, my family knows, if USA called, I'm going.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. When I notice it in other people, I want to help them, because it's like, it's kind of hard to be this way.
Yeah.
And I almost think of it as like, I think of people that are risers, like they rise to the occasion. And there's that quote where it's like, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your preparation or whatever. And I believe in that. I so strongly believe in preparation, but I also think that there are people that for some reason they tap into something different.
Yeah.
And I'm totally one of those people. Like I made the all tournament team both years we won the Women's College World Series. If you were to look at my batting average from postseason, like it's like I wish I could freaking do that every day, but for some reason I was never able to tap into that. So it's like, and I truly believe it's because postseason, even like World Championships in 2018, like that stuff is so rooted in a team goal.
Yeah.
That like I don't care what it looks like. I don't care. I'm gonna keep battling when I'm up to that. And so I would always. It's just because I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do for the team.
Yeah.
And so I don't. It's annoying. I wish I could just be like, that's it. That's it. We're gonna drink some of that today and ball out. But like, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Like so I want my cake, and I also want to eat it. You know,
exactly.
I can't just work out.
Yeah.
You know what? Better to be someone who rises up than who just kind of stays here the whole time. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. If I'm gonna show up for the big game, that's great. But it would be cool to do it more often.
Aubree, where were you yesterday? You know, what's going on?
Literally, no, Coachy started calling me passport this last summer because I don't hit home runs anywhere but other countries. We're at Pan Am's and I hit a home run and it's like, what, you gotta be, I mean, we're lucky the Olympics is in Tokyo. Like,
goodness, right?
Just weird. I mean, it's stupid. But.
No, I think it's so cool. I think it's part of everything that you've learned and experienced and you know, just taken as and accepted it as that's a part of your game and you know, running with it when you need to. So I think it's so cool, and I can understand the frustration, and especially with like the emotion and the loyalty and all that attachment and stuff. And you're like, Aubree, come on,
literally, so many times.
Yeah, but I think what we're kind of talking about right now will transition really well into the next thing I want to bring up, which is the other really big part of you, and it's your faith and your religion. And I think that I'm somebody, I was not raised religious. I don't really identify with a religion. My dad was raised Catholic. My mom was raised Jewish. We're just a whole mess of celebrating all the holidays kind of thing.
What? That?
Yeah. So I went to Hebrew school. I learned Hebrew for a little while.
No kidding. Oh,
yeah.
Things I think about Samu.
Yeah, so that's
do people on here know that that you go by Samu sometimes?
Yes, yeah, I think so. I've started to like talk, you've noticed, in the third person. I'm like, all right, Samu's ready to do this, you know. So Samu as well is known at this point. But yeah, so I didn't really have that religious upbringing or anything, and this is something I want to talk to you and your views about. Is when I was 13, 14 years old, it was a Sunday, and we had just come off of playing a tournament, you know, and we're filthy. It was me and a couple other girls and all of our dads, and we went to a restaurant because we were hungry because we just had played and whatever, we're filthy. And these ladies came in to the restaurant in their Sunday best. You know, you can always tell when it's Sunday and Sunday best. And they came up to our dads and said, these girls need to be in church.
No.
This is over 15 years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I kid you not, Aubree.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember thinking, I just had so much fun playing softball, and I'm so happy, and I'm so in love with what I'm doing today. And it's like it's wrong. And so I remember from that age, you know, I would say a young age, being a little bit turned off of religion. But then I met you, and the way that you speak about it and the way that you present it is almost as if you're just talking about like I talk about Harry Potter, about I love it so much. It makes me so happy and feel so good. And you make me want to ask questions, you know? So what was your upbringing? Like, how did you become in this way with your religion and your faith and stuff?
Well, first off, I'm really glad that I make you feel that way. I'm serious, because I think probably everyone has had an experience with a really outspoken believer that kind of turns you off and you're like, is that Christianity? And so I think we can all relate to an experience like that. And it's unfortunate because like what I believe in Jesus Christ and how God the Father sent him to earth to live a perfect sinless life, to die on the cross for those sins of humanity. And so to me, it's like, I don't believe in like Christianity as in like rules. I believe in Jesus, and like Jesus is a person to me. And so it's become very real. And I think it's, I don't know. I was raised, like my parents got divorced actually when I was 4. So earlier I was talking about my dad. That's actually my stepdad. I'm really fortunate. We're really close. I call him dad. Like I'm very, very fortunate that way. And we moved in with my grandparents. I had a really close relationship with my grandpa. So I'm really lucky in the way that I never feel like I was really lacking a father figure in my life or a male presence.
Yeah.
So that was good. But I found out later, like we were going to church and stuff like that. And I found out later my mom was like really kind of going through it with divorce. But she was like, I really felt like you and your sister, I have an older sister, like just needed to be in church. So I made myself go because I believe in God, but I'm angry at God at the same time. So I was raised by that woman, you know, who like can still do what she knows to be right, even if it doesn't feel right then. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up, I didn't realize, like I went to church a little bit when I was little. I knew like your basic Bible stories, things like that. I identified as a Christian, but I didn't have like a personal relationship with God or Jesus in a way that felt real or like I was participating in it. It did feel more like a religious concept to me. And we didn't grow up like reading the Bible, or I was raised with what I kind of felt like were like morally sound principles. So like, I'm a good kid. I'm a good person. I make good choices. So just kind of thinking like, I don't know, I didn't really have this need or feel this void in my heart. And then my freshman year happened, and I felt so lost. I mean, my identity, my value, everything was in softball, and softball was not going well. So I would leave a day at the field feeling, especially because I'm out of state, I mentioned like I really felt like I was there to play softball, and I would leave the field having a bad day at practice, feeling like I had no value there because I came here to play softball and I can't even do that well right now. Yeah. And so it really kind of started to internalize as a really low self-value. And so then I had been going to a Bible study. My faith had kind of been like kicking up a notch in high school towards the end, but still not personal. And I finally like was exploring a little bit more, trying to get a little bit deeper, trying to get some mentors. And then on the off day, I was hitting because 1, I needed to put in the work to get better, but 2, I really didn't want to have to lie if coach asked if I hit on the off day. So, beautiful. I was there. Yeah. And I was hitting and I felt terrible. Like couldn't find my swing, nothing. And I started picking up the balls. I was probably there 5 minutes and was over it already, and picked the balls up. And as I walked back to the locker room, I just started to cry. And I was like, I literally audibly, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was like, God, I can't do this anymore. Wow. Like I've tried everything and it's not working. So God, please, like I give you my life, do what you want with my life. Wow. And it was the first time all year that I felt like I could actually take a deep breath. Ugh. Yeah. So when I talk about like my faith, I'm speaking from like that place, like where I truly felt a change in my life. Like the way I started to read the Bible more and really tap into like what God says about us, especially as like women. Like I'm a daughter of the King. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. All these things that are like in the Bible that I just didn't really know. Yeah. And I truly feel like my life has been changed. And it started with my game, because I was able to leave the field then being like, okay, no, like I still have value. I still have purpose beyond this thing that I do. Mm-hmm. And so it started with the game. And then like now having like really kind of dove into my faith and really been around some other women of faith that are really, really strong with their beliefs and just being able to articulate it and things like that. It's like, I've really grown a lot in that area.
Yeah.
And I know how much community can really like do for someone, especially when you're growing, especially when you like whatever like mistakes you feel like you've made. I don't know, anything that like people want to condemn you for, anything. It's like, it's hard, and it's a tough world. And it's, so for me, like Jesus has been the game changer. And so that's kind of what I the place that I speak from, is that like, I truly feel like my life has been changed through that realization. And so it makes me mad that those women said that to you, because that's the whole point of our ministry, Church on the Dirt, is that it's like, why do we have to choose between softball, something that we love, something that we believe like God gifted us talents for purpose, you know, not just like now where I'm at, I feel like God gave me this gift to play softball, and now I have a platform to now share that with other people. But beyond that, like, and then choosing between softball and Jesus, and that's not it. And because I wasn't in church in high school. Yeah. Because my sister played volleyball, I played softball, we were traveling all the time. I had younger siblings, so if we had a free Sunday, we were tired and didn't want to go. Like, I get it. Yeah. And so Church on the Dirt really exists to kind of bring those two communities together, where like you don't have to choose. You know, there are ways to pursue God, not on Sunday. There are ways to grow in that relationship if that's what you want to do, like every other day of the week in small increments or whatever. There's a gazillion ways to do it. So like Church on the Dirt, we go out, we offer chapels to teams where we'll meet on like a small, like just before a game, like, so kids are in their uniforms, just like you, they're dirty, they're smelly. And if they want to hear a chapel, we'll spend 15-20 minutes with them. We pray with them, and like, boom. And then we also, on Sundays at the field, when we can, when it's tough because we're busy right now, you know, we're playing for the national team.
Well, what a goal, I guess.
Yeah. We'll actually set up like a tent with chairs, and we'll speak on the hour, like a message that we feel like God's just been teaching us. And so it's been something really cool to be a part of. We get a lot of really good response, even from like parents, because they'll come in between their kids' games or while their kids are playing, because parents are feeling this like conviction of like, we're Christians. I want my daughter to grow and learn and have that foundation, but how do I keep her out of this thing that she loves? And so we just don't want families to have to choose, because that's not what Jesus is about. He just wants to know you. And so we're going to try and bring it to you where you are. And we have an app with podcasts and Bible studies and like a devotional book, because we just want to try and get resources to people. So if that means you listen to a podcast on the way to the field with your family in the car, like that can be church. Yeah. And we just view like our mission field as Christians is the softball community. Like, you don't, while I think it's amazing, like people going to Africa and like in Asia to do that, it's amazing. But I have a built-in like spot right here where like just me living my life and just saying what I believe in, especially like when asked. I mean, even I don't have to be like in people's face about it, but I just think like living by what you believe is a difference maker. And so it's a very long answer, but
no, it's great, because you made so many points, and the one thing that sticks out to me is when I think back on me going through, you know, middle school, high school, college, I think about everything I missed out on, not in a bad way, just sleepovers, snowboarding, going to the beach, you know, doing all these things, and you're giving people a chance to not miss out on growing a relationship in that way. And I think that's really important, because you don't, not having to choose, you know, I always chose softball, and in this sense you can still choose softball, but you can also have some.
I chose softball.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, so it's like it, and everyone that's involved with Church on the Dirt, Michelle Moultrie, Ali Aguilar, Janie Reed, Nikki Udria, like we all probably really grew in our relationship with Jesus in college. And that's great. Like I wouldn't change my story for $1 million, but it's like, had I had more of a foundation in high school, maybe it would have been different. So it's more like we're just kind of trying to offer it, and we don't, I don't know, the way I always try to say it to people is like, we're a resource to either the families or the kids that want that and they just can't because they're pursuing softball, and that's great.
Right.
Or some of those opportunities are like the first time someone could hear about Jesus, and maybe that's going to be the game changer for them. I don't know. Because I don't really think it's me. I think it's like it's God doing the work through me. So I don't know. I don't want to be pushy. I never want to be a pushy Christian. So it's like it's a weird kind of line to walk on. Yeah. Because it's truly what I believe. So not everyone's gonna agree with it, and that's okay. But I also, it's not my job to always hold people accountable. And especially like if someone doesn't believe it, like why am I going to hold you to a certain standard that you don't believe in? Like that doesn't make any sense. Right. You know? Yeah. So again, it's just kind of trying to be a resource to people that already want that and just kind of bring it to them with ease. And then also for the people that like might have an encounter, I mean, we truly believe that could be the difference maker in someone's life. So, yeah, it's been so fun to be a part of, to do with some of my best friends, like in a world that I know so well. Yeah. You know? The cherry on. Because we know the struggles of recruiting. We know the struggles of college, of parents, you know, anything. It's tough, and I think it's getting tougher. I know, right? I can't imagine going through it right now. I know how hard it was going through it. Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. But freaked me out, man. I think that for anybody listening to you talk, they're never going to think that you're pushy about anything, like at all. So that's why I really wanted, I don't often bring this kind of topic up because I think back of the ladies saying that you should be in church. Right. And so this should say something to you that I want to bring it up, and I want to talk to you about it and learn more. But I think anybody listening to your story, whether it's through that part of your life or the softball part of your life, it's very empowering. Everything that you've been saying, everything is just empowering. You letting go and saying, all right, you know what, Jesus, take the wheel and literally go from here. What an empowering moment, you know, just, okay, I can go forward from here. And I just think that, I mean, I'm so appreciative that you shared all of that with me and whoever's listening. I think that it's so important to know that success is not a straight line from point A to point B. And success looks different to people. I mean, somebody could, you doubled your batting average sophomore year and hit 280, whatever the number was. And that was a huge success for you, right? Right. In somebody else's mind, hitting 350 is a huge success. You know, like there's just so many different definitions of success. And I think that, I love that. Yeah. No, I think that you have shown a lot of different ways to succeed. And there's no coincidence that you are where you are now. And I'm just saying. So that's all I have for you. Do you have any closing comments or anything that you'd like to add that you didn't get to say? Oh, that's always a tough question because it's like we literally just talked for an hour about the deepest things. Yeah, we really did. But I think I don't even know really what your demographic is, or I don't either. Which is kind of cool. Yeah. Like it's all going to be like very telling. Yeah. But I think kind of what you said about success and how it's interpreted differently and all that. I think we live in a time that wants to define success as one thing, when in reality it's just not. Like everyone is a product of their environment and a product of their perception. And so like I feel like I'm learning that a lot right now, just everyone is a product of what they have experienced. And so for me, like nobody knew my freshman year how much I really was struggling internally, except my mom and like my sister and my family, you know? So for me, it was like, I would talk about it later and people would be like, oh yeah, no, you did great freshman year. I was like, I'm sorry, what? But they didn't walk through it. Everyone in my class, there were 5 of us, everyone bawled out but me. So everyone was like, freshman year was so great. And I'm like, sure
Yeah.
it was. Like, but because they didn't walk through it, because they didn't experience it. And so then I had some of those same teammates struggle later. And it's like, oh, wow, you've never felt this before.
Yeah.
You know? And so I just think, like, with everything in life, like, if we can remember that people are a product of their environment and their experiences, like being raised by a single mom for a period of time, you know, there's just things that are different, and it doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make it better than anybody else. I've just really been kind of thinking on this concept of like, not like giving people room to grow, giving people room to like experience different, like, because maybe they've never experienced that up to that point. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle of my whole thought, but it's just,
it makes sense.
yeah, I just think that sometimes we are a little harsh with people as a culture because, one, we're a product of our experience, but also they're a product of theirs. And it's, I mean, I do believe that in some areas there is right and wrong, and it's very clear, but there's a lot of background that we don't see, that we don't know. And I think about that with my own story, and what I've shared is like, again, people see me now and I'm Aubree Munro. I play for Team USA. Like, life is great. And while that's true right now, like, I mean, where were people when my mom was a single mom, or when I didn't know if I was ever going to play in college, or, you know, and it's not a knock on anybody else. It's just, we don't know people's stories all the time. So I don't know, if I could just encourage people to like, at least have that thought instead of the first reaction. It's just been something that's been on my mind a lot lately.
Yeah.
So
I think that's great. And I think it's, you know, you can always learn, and you're proof of that, of always learning. And I think no matter what you're doing, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a mom, whether you're a wife, you know, God, how much have you learned in a year of being married?
Oh my gosh.
Learning never stops. I learned
Never.
this morning that I could potentially kill my husband because he reached over and drank my chocolate milk, put it back, didn't say a word. So yeah.
Why would you do that? Does he know how much you love chocolate milk?
Apparently he wants to die. So
I'm not married to you, and I know how much you love your chocolate milk.
I'm just saying it's been a rough morning. No. But I think that that's so great and such a good message, and something that anybody, young, old, athletic, not, you know, whatever it is, can take something from that. So I just really appreciate you and what you do for the softball community, the world, women, people, you know. So
well, I'm just like, you read my bio again, I'm like, whoa.
Whoa, look at you. Aubree Munro, boss. But thank you so much for talking with me and for sharing, and I had so much fun.
Thanks, Sam. I loved being on. I'm so excited to hear it all, like to listen to all your episodes.
Yeah, oh, me too. And whatever the demographic is, I hope everyone enjoys.
They will, because you're great.
Thank you so much. Well, until next time on The Unknown Pro, I'm Sam Fisher, hanging out with Aubree Munro, and we'll catch you later.